Making this mistake in your house construction could literally cost you thousands of dollars in cracked slabs and totally ruined materials. Here is exactly how to avoid it. In this explainer, we're diving deep into the ultimate step-by-step process of pouring concrete like a true pro. Whether you're a homeowner tackling a new patio or a civil engineering student learning the ropes, this is for you. But before you even touch a single bag of mix, there is a massive, and I mean massive, physical risk you absolutely must know about first.
You might be thinking the biggest risk here is just pouring a lopsided driveway, right? Well, actually, no. The real danger isn't to your wallet at all, it's to your body. There's a hidden chemical threat lurking in that mix, and you have got to prepare for it before you even think about scheduling a delivery. What you're seeing here is a severe chemical burn, and it's caused by something called hexavalent chromium found in wet Portland cement. Now, wet Portland cement makes up about 10% of your standard ready-mix concrete. Because this stuff is highly caustic, incredibly abrasive, and aggressively absorbs moisture from literally anything it touches. It can eat right down to the bone if you aren't careful. And honestly, the scariest part, you might not even feel those initial stages of pain until the severe damage is already done.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is protecting yourself with this exact PPE checklist before that truck ever arrives. We're talking a hard hat, a high-vis safety vest, and long chemical-resistant gloves. You also need long sleeves and long pants. And listen closely to this. Make sure you have absolutely zero cuffs. No rolled-up jeans. Cuffs are just traps where wet cement can get stuck right against your skin. You're also going to need chemical-resistant boots, eye protection with side shields, and waterproof knee pads if you'll be edging or finishing. Oh, and take off all your jewelry, rings, watches, anything where cement can hide. If you do get exposed, immediately wash that skin with plenty of fresh, clean water. Do not, under any circumstances, use the dirty bucket water you've been using to clean your tools. Okay, so once you're properly geared up, you're going to hit the most critical planning question of the entire project. How much concrete do you actually need? Most beginners get this wrong. They either overorder and just end up wasting their hard-earned money, or way worse, they underorder. If you run out of material halfway through a pour, you are completely ruining the structural integrity of your slab. To figure out exactly how many cubic yards you need, you'll use this standard volume calculation. It's pretty straightforward. You multiply your length by your width by your thickness, all in feet, and then you just divide that total number by 27. But wait, here is a massive pro tip for estimating your budget. Always add a 1/4 inch to your thickness calculation. This creates a really nice margin of safety. Think about it. If your ground grade is even slightly off, that tiny 1/4 inch buffer ensures you won't come up short on the job site. Having a tiny bit of concrete left over, that's a good order. Coming up a half yard short, total disaster.
Stay until the end because I'm going to show you the easiest way to calculate this right now. If you're pouring a standard 4-inch residential slab, you can just divide your total square footage by the magic number 81. Boom, you instantly get your required cubic yards. So let's say you've got a 200 square foot patio. Divide 200 by 81, and you need exactly 2.46 yards. It really is that simple.
Section 1. Proper site preparation in Formwork. Let's move on and see how all of this builds right into the physical preparation of your job site. Don't make this mistake before starting construction. Failing to build rigid forms. Heavy, wet concrete will blow right through a weak frame like it's nothing. Always use cost-effective, perfectly straight wood and secure those forms with stakes driven deep into the ground at least every 32 inches. Honestly, if your soil is loose, place them even closer. Before you pour a single drop, apply a release agent to the wood so the concrete doesn't stick and tear up your beautiful edges later on. And crucially, you have to guarantee proper water drainage. You do this by sloping the surface a minimum of a 1/4 inch per foot. That gives you a nice 2% slope so water naturally runs right off. All right, phase 1. Your first 5 steps are all about setup and placement. First up, excavate the area and run a plate compactor over your granular subbase to prevent any future settling. Second, install those sturdy forms we just talked about. Third, add your reinforcement steel. But there is one highly important detail here. You absolutely must ensure your rebar or wire mesh is elevated on little supports. We call these chairs. This way, the concrete fully encases the steel. If you just let the steel sit uselessly on the dirt, it adds literally zero strength to the slab. Fourth, mix your concrete with the proper water to cement ratio. And fifth, place it carefully into your forms. Moving right along, Phase 2 brings us to the finish. Step 6 is leveling and screeding to strike off all that excess concrete. Step 7 is cutting your control joints. Step 8 is troweling the surface to smooth it out and really densify it. Step 9, apply a broom finish if you're outside to give it some solid slip resistance. And finally, step 10 is curing. But listen up, because there's one critical detail when it comes to cutting those control joints. You absolutely must cut them within 6 to 18 hours, while the concrete is still in its plastic state. This tells the concrete exactly where to crack, because it will crack. If you wait too long, the slab is just going to crack randomly all over the place as it shrinks, and nobody wants that. Now, a massive misconception out there is confusing drying with curing. Guys, they are not the same thing. Drying is simply the evaporation of excess water so the top surface feels hard to the touch. Curing, on the other hand, is an active chemical hydration process. That process is what builds the concrete's extreme durability and structural strength over the course of several weeks. For this chemical reaction to work optimally, it really needs air temperatures sitting right between 50 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. If it gets too hot, the water evaporates way before the hydration can finish, and that's exactly what causes those nasty shrinkage cracks.
Because of that curing process, you have to follow a strict timeline before you can actually use your new slab without ruining it. You need to wait a full 24 hours just to walk on it with light foot traffic. Then hold off for at least 7 days before you even think about pulling a car onto a new driveway. At that 7-day mark, it reaches about 70% of its design strength, making it safe for vehicles. But you have to wait a full 28 days for that slab to be completely cured and finally hit its absolute maximum load-bearing strength.
We are almost at the finish line here, but hey, if you want more practical construction tips and structural calculations just like this, subscribe to Construction Learners right now. We're completely dedicated to helping you master the trades. Let's talk money, because getting these specific steps right is absolutely critical. Why? Well, paying anywhere between $650 and $1050 per square foot means that making a mistake is incredibly expensive to rip out and do all over again. Taking the time to properly compact your subbase, elevate your rebar on those chairs, and actually respect that 28-day curing timeline, that protects your investment and ensures your concrete is going to last a lifetime. If this explainer helped you, subscribe to Construction Learners. We regularly share practical construction knowledge that can help you build smarter and avoid costly mistakes. And in the next explainer, I'll show you exactly how to master concrete finishes, including how decorative stamping actually works. I mean, what kind of texture will elevate your next project from just a basic gray slab to a high-end masterpiece? We'll uncover all of that next time, so make sure you don't miss it.